All right, team, here's a quick tutorial for volleyball rotations in a one-setter system. First, you need to know there are 6 positions on the court. There's a back row, positions 1, 6, and 5, and a front row, positions 2, 3, and 4. Only the front row may attack from in front of the attack line, but there is a relationship between them all, and that comes into play prior to the serve, so before the serve is actually made. Rotation order goes clockwise. From position 1, you go to 6, then 5, 4, 3, and 2. Don't ask me why they're not numbered better. They're not. In basic lineup, so where you start, we have rotation 1, which the setter, who's marked as a black quarter circle, in position 1. That's why it's called rotation 1. Everything is based around the setter. And I want you to notice that the right side and the setter are opposite each other in the 6-person rotation. The middles are opposite each other. The left sides are opposite each other. That way, every time we have 3 players in the front row, one of them is at each position. Rotation 6, we just go on through clockwise here. Rotation 5, setter jumps 4, 3, and 2. Your home base, which means when other team has the ball, preferably first contact hasn't happened yet or has happened yet, setter is hopefully getting to the ball. So the other team has the ball, this is where we should be. Rotations 2, 3, and 4, so with the setter in the front row, setter blocks on the right side, middle blocks in the middle, left side blocks on the left side. In the back row, the middle blocker is going to play defense in position 5. Want to be about 1.5 meters back from the attack line and about 1 meter in from the sideline. 6th player is going to be about 1 meter to 1.5 meters in from the baseline and about the middle of the court. They should not be equal with these 3. And right side is going to be opposite the middle, about 1.5 meters back from the attack line, meter from the sideline. These 2 players are responsible for defending in here unless a blocker comes off the net and can take over. This player must be defending deep. They cannot go in shallow. They have to take responsibility for the deep parts of the court. The opposite rotations, 1, 6, and 5 with the setter back row. The only difference is the right side is front row playing right side and the setter is back row playing defense in 1. Nothing else changes. When we are serving in rotation 1, so the setter is in the serving position, the setter will serve and move immediately to their defensive position. And you'll notice that the middle blocker starting in position 6 has to stay in position 6 relative to the left side who starts in position 5 until the serve is made. As soon as the serve is contacted, you can go to your defensive spot, but not before. The right side in rotation 1 starts in position 4 and switches immediately on contact to block on the right side, and the left side switches the same. You'll see where they started and where they go to. Middle blockers, your job happens first, which means you need to stay at the net ready to be the first one to touch the ball. In rotation 6, so now left side is serving, the setter can immediately go to their starting position. The server who is outside the back line, you can be anywhere along this baseline and you do not have to be in rotation. So this setter can start immediately at their defensive spot. The middle can start at their defensive spot. The right side has to be after the middle in the rotation and switches right away. Rotation 5 with the setter still back row. The middle blocker is now serving, but setters in 5, they have to be in rotation relation to this left side. So the left side can start in their home base, and the setter will go immediately on contact of the serve to play defense in 1. The right side can start where they're at because of where they are in the rotation. The middle's job comes first, so they take priority, and the left side will switch around the middle. Rotation 4 with a front row setter. The right side is serving, and they play defense in the same spot as always, on the right side of the court. So the right side will serve and go immediately into their position. The middle blocker will be in relationship, in rotation to the left side. They have to be in this relationship. So this still exists, and as soon as contact is made, they go and play defense 5. Setter, who's front row now, is switching with the left side, who is in position 2. Setter's in position 4. They switch immediately on contact. The middle blocker has a job to do, so we don't bother them. So rotation 3, setter and middle front. On contact, left side can go in right into their defensive spot. They can also serve from right behind if they choose. The right side, who was in position 6, does not have to keep a relationship to the server. The server is independent. So they can go right to their defensive positions. The setter, who must start left of the middle blocker, can then just switch immediately to their position. Rotation 2, setters in the front row, middle is serving. The middle serving, again, they can serve from behind their own position if they want, or from position 1, their choice. Right side, who has to be left of the middle, of the left side from the beginning, has to maintain that until contact of the serve, and then they can go and play their defensive position, their home base. Left side, who is middle front to begin with, must be in the middle front until serve is made, and then switch to the left side to block. When we are receiving serve, all 5 players who are not setting are going to be involved in receiving the serve, what's called W formation. In rotation 1 with a back row setter, W will be made from all 5 remaining players. The setter will be hiding behind the front row left side, maintaining this relationship until point of contact. They also have to be left to the right. They also have to be to the right of this middle blocker. So this relationship is maintained here until point of contact, and the setter runs in to set the ball. This player is front row, and front row. In our first attack, they will be attacking from the lane that they're in. So the left side here will be attacking from the right side until the ball goes over the net. Same thing with the middle. They'll go back to their home base in the middle, and the right side will attack from the left side until the ball's over the net, and then they switch to home base. Back row setter in 6. Same W will be formed by the other 5 players, by these 5. Setter has to be behind the right side, so this relationship must be maintained, and the setter must be in between the other 2 back row players, and this relationship has to be maintained too. So they hide behind the right side until contact. The setter should be at the net before the ball gets to the net, so they got to move fast. We'll hit from the lane that we're in until the ball goes over the net, at which point we switch to our home base. Back row setter in rotation 5. This setter has to be behind the middle blocker and left of the setter. So that relationship gets maintained while the W keeps its form. Setter gets right into position 2.5, ready to take the second ball. Everyone else hits from the lane they're in until the ball goes over the net, and then we switch to home base. Defensive home base, these 3 are back row, setter, left side, middle. Front row setter in rotation 4. The middle blocker will drop to the sideline and hit from the left side. The left side will come to the middle and hit from the middle. We want the setter setting forward if possible. So the setter on contact has to run all the way across the net, get stopped and steady at position 2.5. These 3 players are back row, so they're involved in passing but not in attacking, and they'll be covering our hitters. Rotation 3 with front row setter. A setter has to be in between the front 2 players. They're in the middle front, so this relationship has to be maintained until the point of contact of the serve. Then the setter gets to their 2.5, turns and opens and faces their team. The W that you see here is still intact, with this relationship being very important. The middle blocker has to be ahead of this left side. So this relationship is very important. Position 2 with a front row setter. Setter has a very comfortable job here. They can start right away in 2.5. The left side and the middle, who are front row, will hit from, and the other team has the ball. Then we